Hello, this is Jill from Paper Daisy Crafting. Thank you for joining me again today. Today we're still on a Christmas theme, and I'm going to show you how I made these lovely cards with 3 little Christmas trees on. You can see they're all different. I made these for our team. I'm in the Pootlers team of Stampin Up demos, and every time there's a new catalogue we do a card swap, so we make 5 identical cards and send them out to 5 other demos, and then we get 5 cards back, so we get different samples and different ideas, and it's great for inspiration. So these are the cards that I will be sending to the people in my group, and like I say, they're all different. These two, just move these ones out of the way, these two use papers from the Brightly Gleaming pack. So these papers back here, and they're foiled in copper. So I have used copper embossing powder and copper foil to stamp my trees here. I think those are really pretty. So those are 2 of them. And then I made this one in silver, and this is actually the Feels Like Frost paper, which I have braided in shaded spruce to match the cardstock. So although it started off silver and white, it's now green and white, which is rather nice. And I've used silver and white embossing powder on this one. And the one that we're going to make today, very similar to this one, uses the Perfectly Plaid papers, which are foiled in gold. So I've used gold foil here, gold embossing and white embossing on the gold. So I'm just going to show you how I made my cards. I just need to find my page with the measurements on, because I've turned my page over. I did write them all down so I can give them to you as we go through. Just give me a second. There we go, 3 Christmas trees. Right, okay, so we need a card blank to start with. I'm just using our thick Whisper White. My normal card size is 21 by 14.5. I just trim a little bit off. It's not quite big enough to do 15 centimetres on 2 cards, so I trim a little bit off and have 2 14.5 cards, and then I've scored at 10.5. And if you're working in inches, it's 8 1/4 scored at 4 1/8 by 5 3/4 inches that way. So there we go. You then need a piece of DSP, our pattern paper. I am using, like I say, from the Perfectly Plaid, different piece from this one, slightly different but very similar, and I'm just going to mount that on there. And my DSP is just 1/2 centimetre or 1/4 inch smaller than the actual card base. So it's 5.5 inches by 3 7/8 inches, or 9.7 centimetres by 13.7 centimetres. So I'm just going to put a little bit of Tombow on there, like so. I'm using this spready end so I can get it right to the edges, and spread it out without any glue oozing out. So I've been having such fun making Christmas projects, even though it's only, while I'm doing this, it's only September, which seems incredibly early. But believe me you, Christmas will be here quicker than we think. And I do always like to get a good start on my Christmas cards, otherwise I'm rushing about in December still not having made them. So mount that on there. Lovely tartan paper this. I love this paper, and just made even more special with the gold foiling. And then we need a piece of gold foil, and I'm using Cherry Cobbler cardstock here, which links in with that. I actually used real red on this one, which actually goes quite well as well, but I thought I'd just change it up slightly. So we're going to mount this on there, and I'm going to use tear and tape for that, because this foil is not porous. Glues and things don't always seem to keep a permanent hold on them, so I like to use tear and tape or something like that. Some of the tape runners you could use snail or fast fuse, but I'm a great tear and tape lover, so I just use that, and it will give you a nice firm hold. I use tear and tape an awful lot actually for things, my go-to glue. Right, and I'm just going to get my tweezers, which I use to take the backing off. I haven't got any nails, so some of you ladies have gorgeous nails, I know, so you'll be able to do that with your nails, but I don't really have I've got nails, but they're not very strong, so I just use my tweezers. My tweezers are one thing I would not be without. There, and then just try and line it up. So the cardstock, the foil is 12 by 8 centimetres, and the cardstock is 11.5 by 7.5. I will put all the measurements on the blog post that you can go to below, you can link to, and then that's just going to stick on there. So again, a bit of Tombow, can do Tombow because this is porous, next to porous. The card on the back of the foil is okay to glue with our Tombow, and the advantage is it does give you a bit of wiggle room, which the tear and tape doesn't. Once you've stuck with tear and tape, it's there, whereas this will give us a little bit of wiggle room. So there we go. Line that up, center it, press it down all around, and there we go. There's the basis of our card, and now we just need our 3 Christmas trees and our sentiment. So to start with, I'm going to start with a piece of Whisper White card, and I'm going to use my embossing buddy so that I don't get specks of embossing powder where I don't want them. I'm taking my Versamark pad and the Christmas tree, which is from the Perfectly Plaid set, and I'm just using this one, the branches one there. Okay, so we're going to stamp in Versamark twice. Like so, and we are going to find our gold embossing powder, which is here, and we are going to cover those with embossing powder. There we go. Oh, I've got a place there that I obviously didn't catch with my embossing buddy, got a bit of powder, but that's all right. I can just scoop that off with a paintbrush. I've got my little paintbrush here. I always have a very thin little paintbrush handy just to get rid of any little bits of embossing powder that I don't want. So that's that done. That's 2 of my Christmas trees. So bring in your heat gun, wait for the magic to happen. Still love watching this after years and years of stamping and heat embossing. Nothing quite like watching the powder change from this dull matte powder into a lovely raised shiny image. So magical. And any new crafters, I think that's absolutely, you know, if you haven't discovered it yet and you discover it, I think it's absolutely magical. There we go. Right, so there's our 2. I'm going to put that to one side for a second, and I'm just going to come in with a piece of gold, if I could find, there it is. And again, I'll use my my embossing buddy to make sure, and I'm going to stamp with Versamark. Be careful stamping on the foil because the stamp will slide a little bit, so you do need to stamp quite carefully there. And then come in with our white embossing powder. Give it a flick. There we go, and then we can just heat that one up as well. There we go. It will curl the gold foil, but it doesn't matter, it will sort itself out after. In fact, if you wanted to sort it out, you can put the heat gun on the other side, but actually it doesn't really matter. It's going to sort itself out anyway. There we go. Right, so we're going to punch those 3 out with our pine tree punch, one of the new punches in the new catalogue. I've just dropped my camera cord in my coffee, which doesn't do it any good. Let's hope that still works. This is the new Stampin' Up catalogue. Excuse me, just trying to drink my coffee before it goes cold. And there we go. So we're going to put this in and punch the 3 trees out. Like so. Straighten it up. Punch, there's 1. There's 2. And there's 3. And then 2 of these I'm going to glue flat to the card. and one of them I'm going to raise up on dimensionals. So these two I'm going to put flat on the card. So I'm going to put a bit of Tombow on the back here, and then I'm going to come in with a cocktail stick, and I'm going to spread that out so that it goes right to the edges. So I want a very thin layer of glue on here, so just spread that out and put it about here, I think about 1/4 of an inch from the edge and 1/4 of an inch from the top. Don't need to be ever so precise, just need to mean you left enough room at the bottom for the sentiment. There we go. Oh, that's not my cocktail stick. Where is it? There we go. And again, spread out the Tombow glue so you get a very, very thin. You actually glues better when you've got a thin bit than a thick bit, which might squeeze out. There we go. And there we are. And then some dimensionals on the back of this one. So these are our mini dimensionals, which are perfectly big enough for this. Oh, we've got an odd bit there, odd little edge bit. There we go. It's alright, I don't waste any of these, so I do use the little odd end bits as well. Right, there we go. And although it's still curling a bit, it will sort itself out, so it doesn't really matter. There we go. And then all that's left to do is the sentiment, which is actually from the Christmas Gleaming stamp set. So it's from a different stamp set to this one. I love this, the sentiment that I've used here though. So that goes there. And then here's my stamp from this is the Christmas Gleaming stamp set. So I'm using that one. So I'm just going to bring my Versamark in again. Bit of Whisper White card, Embossing Buddy again, stamp, there we go, gold embossing powder. So like I say, the others I did in silver and copper, so you can, just depending on what colour DSP you've got, you can tailor it. So there we go, another flick, and my heat gun, bring my heat gun in, and then all that's left to do, I actually hand cut round my greeting. You could do it with the trimmer, but I actually hand cut round it. There we go. So that's done. So just get some scissors, use my big scissors here, and just carefully, so I left a little white border, and just cut very carefully along here. I'm going to just cut this off roughly. And so if anybody needs a catalogue, a Christmas catalogue, please let me know. If you'd like to order anything, everything I'm using is available in my shop. You can click through below, there'll be a link below this video. Right, I just need a couple of Christmas. And if you haven't subscribed to my video channel, I'd love you to do so. I'm heading for 4,000 subscribers, which is absolutely great, and I'm anxious to get there as quickly as possible. Just click on the subscribe, and then if you click on the bell, you'll get a notification every time I post, so you won't miss any more of my videos. There we go, stick that on there, and we're done. Another lovely Christmas card. So now I've got the 5 that I need, so these will be heading out to the girls very, very soon. All slightly different. Which is your favourite? I think I'm erring on the side of this one. I love this paper and I love this pretty peacock. Anyway, that's all from me today. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a lovely day. Speak to you again soon. Bye.